this day is significant. I've been significant personally, and most importantly politically. December the 4th, 2020 marks the 51st year after the assassinations of Chairman Fred and Defense Secretary Mark Clark. We acknowledge and extend our respects to revolutionaries past and present alike on the international level. Initially, this was National Revolutionary Day. We upped the ante to be International Revolutionary Day. And the deal is that our position is that we seize the time with an opportunity to expose a blatant assassination. We have cases of blatant revolutionaries, cases of what extents this government has and will go to stop our fight for self-determination. We, by all accounts, whatever the size of the political stratum you reside on, is no doubt about it. What happened December the 4th, 1969 was an assassination. And and it's a discussion, it's an acknowledgement that we must have, that we should have, and not in a subjective way, not just say, okay, this it's a case of the police going awry or a few bad apples in Chicago. These are the policies, these are the practices that we see, with Maurice Bishop in Grenada. These are the policies that we see throughout Africa, the Philippines, through the Vietnam. These are the policies that we've seen in some, in the 1800s in regards to this system. To put in context, historical political context, that of a revolutionary, that those who fight for change, those who fight on their own terms, and again, the concerted effort, an orchestrated effort to put together, not say orchestrated, the different dynamics, the media, the police, the judicial system, going through the stages of slander, going through the stages of political imprisonment, going through the stages of attempting to co-opt, and then ultimately sending individuals to what we refer to as the revolutionary happy hunting ground. And we've seen that in the case with December 4th, approximately 4:35 a.m., with Chairman Fred, 21 years old, and Defense Secretary Mark Clark were assassinated. We've seen where Deborah Johnson, now Akua Njeri, and others, locked up, giving trumped up charges, and the ongoing narrative, the incorrect narrative that was laid out, that would occur. We got the documents and the paperwork with the Chicago Tribune, how they initially reported as a shootout. We've seen what Negroes aligned with that. We've seen the contradictions get heightened to the point that such entities as the Afro-American Patrolmen's League had to acknowledge that, whoa, you had to take a position. And because in so many cases, we have what we refer to as a class piece, where people say, well, I don't know, I don't want to take a position on that. This case, what happened December the 4th, heightened the contradictions to say, okay, no, you have to take a position. There's no neutral position. The lines of demarcation are drawn. And so we intend to take this and continue to move with this here. And even in the climate of the coronavirus, what we refer to as the pandemic, say, okay, yes, this is also, it must be inclusive in the conversation of COINTELPRO, counterinsurgency. Again, we say everything is political.
Mama Akua, what did you think about, I'm talking about now the conversation at the DuSable Museum that we all just watched. What did you think about when, I'm sure that wasn't your first time hearing that, but when Attorney James D. Montgomery said that he went to the opposition and said, I want to know all of the informants that were involved in that night. I don't know if his exact words were in the house that night or what exactly he said, but when he gave us the answer that they dismissed the case at that point. You were in that house. So what did you think about that? That was very startling to me. I mean, I'm not surprised, but it was something to hear that.
Well, let me say this. Attorney James D. Montgomery was and is a bad mother. Shut your mouth, if you can feel me.
Yes.
And he was known and respected as a great attorney. One thing about Attorney Montgomery, I don't know his whole background, but he respected the streets. And he loved and respected the Black Panther Party and Chairman Fred Hampton. So he came in with the ability to fight and raise some questions and some struggles that other people might not have been comfortable doing. So it wasn't the first time. It's been a long time since our court, and also that civil case at that time was the longest civil suit in the history of the U.S. court. So it was just, he just brought so much to that interview process at DuSable Museum. And I wrote a comment up there that this historic piece to have Attorney Montgomery and Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., the Black Panther Party Cubs, is still fighting to defend the legacy and the history of the Black Panther Party. It was like a shot in the arm for me, and I'm still grinning from ear to ass from watching it again.
Well, I like to just give, Chairman, can you welcome your guests in Clubhouse and here? And we just got joined by Chuck D.
So you're right. So you're right. Right.
Chuck, let me know if I could tell him about, you know, a certain cover. Just let me know. We don't. Oh, he's muted. Hang on, guys. He's muted. He's muted.
All right, I'm sorry. I said peace, Chairman. Peace, Chairman. Peace, Layla. Peace, everybody.
My brother.
Peace, everybody on this forward day.
Yes, sir.
The day after the day, and we keep going forward.
Thanks for joining us. We just watched a presentation, a conversation with Chairman, his mother, Mama Akua, and the attorney who was on the case when they sued the city of Chicago for the assassination. So we are going to get right back to that. Where is Chairman now? Here we go. Yep.
You know, if I can also, inclusive with Attorney Montgomery handling the civil suit in regards to it was suing the city in regards to the tax. It should also be acknowledged too that these forces, Deborah Johnson and others, they were fighting criminal charges as well. And you know,
yes.
I speak about it. You know, I was just talking to while we were viewing the video here at the Hampton House, and I made a comment to the young sister. I say, it's important that you recognize when you see certain pictures, you say, okay, they were taking those pictures on, they were not under duress. When you see the photographs of then just turned 19 years old, Deborah Johnson, she had just turned 19 years old, November 28th, 1969. And you know, and the whole thing, you know, she was 8.5 months pregnant. So, I mean, I dare not attempt to go into the details, you know, how you relate to mourning, sickness, and all that type, you know, them different dynamics. But she was 8.5 months pregnant. She had just come, that was Chairman Fred's bathrobe, his house shoes on, and the dignity, even in her jail photo, the defense, and a lot of people, it's a foreign language. They cannot understand this revolutionary organization. When you see the interview of her holding me as a child, they were underground at that time. And for those who cannot relate to that term, a lot of people, the deal was the grand jury was attempting to talk to them, and many people come from the ilk to believe that the public defenders work for them. They have some sort of interest in getting justice. The Black Panther Party, when they said the state, it was not simply that of the, in a reactionary assessment like the state's attorney.
That's right.
It was the state's attorney. Right. It was the public defenders. It was the judges. It was the school teachers. It was the media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was some of their parents. It was some, you know what I'm saying, some of the churches.
Yes.
Different, that the lines were redrawn, and the Black Panther Party took the position that no, we're not talking to the grand jury. You know what I'm saying? Because any entity that they engaged in, their position was it's going to be on our terms. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be the school system or what have you, and they were like literally underground. And when she done that interview, she's underground. And then they were also, this kind of go back to the question you put for the tag team with Mother Comrade, question you put forward, Layla, about Attorney Montgomery. He talked about when he had, because again, he was not only, I mean, he's going from civil to criminal case. You know what I'm saying? You got people who are facing time. You know, and a lot of times, in many cases, this is the reality. You have people fighting cases. And you're like, why they take? You know what I'm saying? People say, oh, they're gonna offer them a settlement. They fighting cases too at the same time. And you know what I'm saying? These are some of the dynamics of the state. They work with your lawyers in the criminal case, a civil case, so on and so forth. And when the Attorney Montgomery what he referred to as the Jimmy Hoffa defense, where in Jimmy Hoffa's case, Jimmy Hoffa, they said, wait a minute, the position was, we don't know how many informants and judges and the state's position was, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Whether you know or not, that, you know what I'm saying, that if you talk to people, you running the risk of them being informants. But just putting forward this as defense, and mind you, at this climate, during this time, there was a conscious level where the people were clear, unlike today in these reactionary times, where the lines were drawn of being who you work with, the state or the people. You know what I'm saying? Again, the lines were drawn. So him putting that motion, he put a motion, the Jimmy Hoffa defense in a motion to the courts saying, before we move forward, I need to know at least how many other informants that, you know what I'm saying, that we have here. And you know, it's difficult for me technically to move forward my case. You know what I'm saying? Because mind you, we have other people that was in the apartment when Chairman Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were assassinated. And now people want a reactionary response. It was just William O'Neill. But in the legal capacity, when he put forth that response, okay, all we asking for is a disclosure. And you know what I'm saying? We just need to know who I'm meeting with people. And it impacts me legally. You know what I'm saying? And the reality is that impacts us, that impacts our health, that impacts how we organize. You just can't mention, like even in Los Angeles, December 5th, when LAPD attacked the headquarters in Los Angeles. A lot of people don't acknowledge that it was an agent, a guy named Cotton, that was a documented agent inside the place when the shootout was going on. This changes the discussion, you know what I'm saying? Because you say, whoa, I thought it was just all Panthers. This is something that, wait a minute, let me be very clear on who's here. So when he put that motion, the state's position was, wait a minute, I tell you what, drop all criminal charges. Drop all criminal charges. The state's position was, we're not going to take a chance or run the risk on that, you know what I'm saying? Because see, and a lot of people can't understand this or relate to this until it comes from a legal perspective. So, you know what I'm saying? So we're fortunate to have people like Attorney Montgomery. Chairman Fred was, you know what I'm saying, when there was certain other individuals like Maria Fisher, who would always push for Chairman Fred to have a discussion, not even do it, but just have a discussion, entertain the thought about going underground while you out on appeal bond. Chairman Fred would entertain the discussion. You know what I'm saying? Why you just didn't call agents out? And a lot of reactionaries, their thing is call it out. But the deal is, a lot of people are not ready for that. A lot of people can't, they're not politically mature enough to relate to that. You can cut out certain forces. You know what I'm saying? The deal is, we heighten the contradictions and not until you see who relates to what. Because a lot of individuals work on the state payroll and don't even know it. So when Montgomery put that motion in, the state said, similar to when Chicago Area 2 Violent Crimes, Lieutenant John Burge. When it was pushed about the torture he was doing, the state's position was, okay, give him up. He's a bad police. They dare not have the conversation continue of running the risk of exposing who was the state's attorney then? Mayor Richard Daley. There you go. Who later became mayor. Who was the superintendent of Chicago police? Leroy Martin. Was complicit with this? Because these similar to the era right now, we do with a lot of people say Donald Trump is just bad. He making all the politics. He's not no Lone Ranger. He's not doing it by himself. The next logical question is, who is Tonto? who is complicit with these crimes? When we talk about the kidnapping of Africans.
I am sorry.
It's easy to say, okay, Portuguese, the Spanish, English done this. Wait a minute.
I'm through.
Who are the Negro kings? Who are the Negro queens that was complicit with these crimes? That's the discussion that we must have. You know what I'm saying? Because they could never make these moves
Right.
That's right.
Provocateurs, you know what I'm saying? These
That's
Pied
right.
Pipers.
That's right.
What music was being played? I'm gonna say this.
Come on now.
Yeah, I got another more questions.
Please.
No, you said you wanted to say one more.
Let me say this. Let me say this. I recall being at the Chicago Tribune headquarters. Some individuals who had been tortured by Chicago police. And I recall at the table with the Chicago Tribune editorial staff, the reporter. And at this time, they were talking about exposing a piece called Niggas by the Pound. They talked about how former State's Attorney Daley would have competition with each other on framing up Black people in particular. They would, you know, and they would compete on who would buy lunch for them, buy lunch, or how many niggas you would prosecute. And so,
there you go.
So they would sit at the table, they would pat each other on the back and say, aren't we great what the Tribune is doing? My response was, go back and look at the time all of these individuals were framed and locked up. Look at the narrative of the articles that were written by the Chicago Tribune. Go back, even December the 4th, December the 5th. Look at the narrative that Chicago Tribune had written about this shootout between the Panthers and the police. So this conversation must be had. You know, like even this climate, it's easy to say, "Oh, they're just killing people in Chicago." Let's go deeper than that. What music is being played? What, you know what I'm saying? What guns are being dropped in? This a climate. It's an aura. It's an ambiance. You know what I'm saying? That cannot be limited or devalued to just one simple element. And that's what Jim Montgomery, when he pushed that question, the state feared it. They said, we dare not go into the question. Because the next question will be like, who put individuals in the apartment? Why were they there? How did they get there?
That's right. That's right.
You know, and also, who was this individual we targeted? We weren't taking no chances on not just one agent provocateur, not just one influence.
Come on now.
But you know what I'm saying? They're not taking no chances. They're not running no risk. You know what I'm saying? They say, man, so that's the discussion that we must struggle to have in an objective way.
Now, given how young the Panthers were at that time, and then so James Attorney Montgomery was I believe he made the distinction that he was kind of older than they were. And we now know in our studies and our parents' history, both of my parents were also in the party. Was it lost upon the members of the party in Chicago at that time, because Chicago was such a machine politically anyway? Was the federal influence of law enforcement lost upon the Panthers at that time? The schemes they were doing, the letters they were writing, the starting these beefs with people and with people. Somebody's not muted.
What was the last part of what you said?
Well, I mean, I guess part of it is, of course, not, I mean, it wasn't lost on them, the reality of the federal influence on the party. And that was, you know, when
you say the federal influence, what do you, I'm not really understanding.
The FBI, the provocateurs, the assassinations.
Well, the Black Panther Party called it out, not just here in Chicago, but all over. You know, before the government acknowledged that it had informants, agent provocateurs, and you know, every avenue, FBI, CIA, all working. The Black Panther Party was deemed by J. Edgar Hoover to be the #1 threat to the internal security of this country. So every police agency, and when I'm talking police agencies too, media, which is an arm of the government to maintain the government's views and explanations of what goes down in communities, oppressed communities. It was a local, federal, attack.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one thing that we had talked about at the site at Ground Zero today, there was one investigator that was critical, Sherman Skolnick. He was real old critical about the lack of exposure, exposing the CIA's involvement in it. Because I think it was Growth. It was one of them that had CIA ties.
Doherty or Growth? Doherty or Growth?
Okay, Doherty. I just don't remember. I don't remember, but I know one of them. At least one of them did. Let's say that at least one of them did. But back then, when the party was talking about, we had art where you had federal and state entities sucking on the tits of a pig, USA, in the cartoons, in the paper. You know, we called it out back then, and a lot of these so-called leaders, and even what the government trying to kill y'all for? Y'all not that important. Why you think it's a government conspiracy? Why? We recognized we were living in war times, that this government had declared war on black and oppressed people in this country.
Now, what do you say to people who criticize the Panther Party because of their embracing of the gun and thinking that the Panthers were trying to overthrow the United States government?
Nothing. Nothing. Why am I gonna? It's like we used to say.
Well, what do you think about them? But what is the correct assessment? What exactly was correct about? You know, is that correct or incorrect?
That the Panthers were trying to overthrow the government.
Yes.
We were trying to fight. We were trying to fight for self-determination.
Uh-oh.
Fighting. We had to have.
If I could tag team also, comrade. Go ahead. I'll let you finish on the tag team with you. I can.
No, go ahead. I got confused with the beeping and the buzzing, but
sorry.
Go ahead, Jim.
No, all good. I respect Mother Comrade so much, and I sympathize on I have to catch myself sometimes. I say, man, the battle fatigue of struggling with so many individuals, you know what I'm saying? And then even for her to be in that period where it was a climate where conscious levels were heightened, where people were, you know what I'm saying, there was a clarity of political prison, there was a clarity of, you know what I'm saying, the police gunned us down. Somebody commented to me yesterday. They said, well, this is the same thing, this climate right now, you know, with George Floyd, you know, with the assassination. I said, I beg to differ. We are in reactionary times, as opposed to there was a climate that was revolutionary times, where it was second nature. It was, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't this whole bunch of what Chairman Fred called intellectual masturbation. It was it was automatic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, through the door. When James Brown went in the studio and he had a song playing at first, when he mammed Jamil Alameen down on A-Tribe Brown, said, man, go back in the studio with that garbage. He came back out. He wasn't no back and forth. He came back and said, I'm black and I'm proud.
That's right.
The condition, and I also tell people, it was the era where niggas needed Nixon. Nixon helped destroy the class peace. Nixon, as opposed to the class peace under John F. Kennedy. The same John F. Kennedy who authorized his brother, the former Attorney General, Robert Kennedy, to put the wiretap on Dr. King. Same John F. Kennedy had Army tanks up and down 47 in Michigan, on the south side of Chicago, and Detroit, Michigan.
That's right.
There was a class peace. When Richard Milhouse Nixon came, pulled the covers up, said, campaign for law and order. The Panther Party was moving before then, but there were certain conversations people could not relate to, as Mother Comrade talked about. People said, oh man, y'all paranoid, so on and so forth. It was not, you know what I'm saying? So, but they still were consistent, even when their parents, even when their school, the classmates, you know what I'm saying, dismissed it. But those conditions came at that point, at that time, similar to what we coming up on now, where the conversation can happen now. You know what I'm saying? And when people can relate to it, it wasn't this back and forth, because you were able to wed, you were able to marry the conditions with the conscious level. You would say, okay, you something to relate to. If you tried to duck and dodge it, it was reinforced to you. You seen in this climate, you know what I'm saying, under, well, I guess President, former U.S. President Donald Trump, when they come out with such terms as black identity extremists. Ain't no, if you try to say, well, man, the police killed my son because they were going to college. No, you black. Well, you know, I didn't, you know, my daughter got beat up because she's a Scorpio. No, you black. It helps force you into those, you know what I'm saying? And we've seen that climate with Nixon, where it forced people, you know what I'm saying, the conscious level. People say, well, how was, you had the draft going on back then, where it was up front. You know what I'm saying? Go to jail, go to jail to fight. Ain't no back and forth. It wasn't no front like, well, I'm going to fight for my country because I love my country. It was a conversation. He said, man, I'm going with a fight, man. You know what I'm saying? It was, at least it was an authentic, it was an honest. Even if it was bad, but it was honest, as opposed to a climate of a class piece where you have GMO organizations, government-made organizations. You have entities, you know what I'm saying? You have fake conversations. You have fake news. You have all, you know what I'm saying? You have all these plastic tomatoes and plastic bananas. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to move forward, to say, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's have authentic conversation. You know why the Black Panther Party exists. You know why you got to be armed. You know what I'm saying? And it was a discussion, how the gun was viewed, how a relationship was viewed, how defense was viewed with other communities. Other communities, like right now with the coronavirus, with the pandemic, you have people come and say, man, listen, yeah, you're right, we might die, but I'm going to work. I'm not going to watch my baby die. You have white people, they're saying this. So it's an honesty, like, you're right, we run the risk of dying, but I'm going to do this. I have to live. You've seen in the 60s, a community stand up and say, you're right. We run the risk of being assassinated, of being killed, or being in prison. However, as Malcolm X stated, if you lay down, they would still say, turn over, nigga. We still not satisfied. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no more. And the guy say, this is the country where everybody believes they can become president. Every people, they believe that. You know what I'm saying? People had become clear in the 60s. They were forced to become clear. So now we got some real deal discussion. Now we can get to the nitty gritty. And that's what we fighting for. You know what I'm saying? We, again, say, why are you armed? As opposed to now, why you got all these guns in your rap videos and why you get all these guns? It's fashionable. You know what I'm saying? No, it was defense. You know what I'm saying? See, Minister UEP Newton had a struggle, even internally in the Black Panther Party. He said, we must even politicize the gun. Like you know, the ruling class tells you can have the gun, all the guns you want down south to kill rabbits. You have all the guns you want. You have all the guns you want in Chicago or Chirac. Matter of fact, we'll drop them off to you. On the Norfolk Railroad, we would deliver to the children on a weekly basis. We'll put them in their hand. You can kill all the niggas you want to kill. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
We'll bring them to you. Ain't no Ubers, ain't no pieces delivery coming to Inglewood. But we will deliver them guns to you. We'll drop them off to you.
Right.
Matter of fact, we have a case with the feds, car stop on the west side of Chicago, and there's weapons in there.
Come on now.
The Black Panther Party, the guy said, well, I'm in videos flashing my guns, you know, to brag about how good my gun looked. It was one purpose for the gun, defense. It was a climate with down south. Your parents say, I'm passing down to you my China plates and my gun. Don't you pass, don't you sell it, don't you do nothing with it. Because you know what? That's a statement. Food and defense. Pass the plate. Food and defense. This ain't no paper plate. You better defend it. This gun come from your grandmama. Pass it down.
That's right.
As opposed to this, I'm in videos and I'm chopping up. I got this and that. As soon as the system come to kill me, I'm laying it down. I'm punking out. The Black Panther Party stood up and say, yeah, we are. In the words of Deputy Minister of Health, Doc Satchel. He said, we are armed propaganda unit.
Propaganda unit.
A lot of these reactionary organizations don't understand the Black Panther Party was. You hear them talk, well, the Black Panther Party couldn't outgun the government. These cats was clear. It wasn't about no military. It was an armed propaganda unit. They understand the politics of the gun, of defense. That symbolism. That's why when they tell us, you don't see Kid Rock doing no event to turn your guns in. You know, the black community is told, turn your guns in, take away your defense. It symbolizes defense.
Come on now.
In the Black Panther Party, up the ante, when you've seen it, even if you had a gun or not, how you viewed it, as opposed to this nonchalant, reactionary, waving the gun, just throwing them around. It was your defense. And we see now, the state knows the importance of that. That's why every law in regards to the guns, every law historically, you go back and look at the Emancipation Proclamation, You go back and look at the Mulford Act, Senator Mulford, 1967, the Black Panther Party marched up in the Sacramento state legislature. Every law in regards to the gun is in response to some dynamic in relation to race in this country. Because Minister UEP said, an unarmed people is subject to slavery at any given time. And unarmed people is subject to slavery. Not that you can, not to minimize this as some sort of elementary reactionary response that you can outgun the system, but the politics of it. The politics of it. The defense, it empowered you. Your parents passed that down to you. It was as simple as, if you telling me this is for defense, that sends a message to me that somebody is attacking me. If you telling me that here's the China plates, this is for you to eat, that's telling me that somebody is trying to starve me. As opposed to now you have a reactionary generation that's told that you don't worry about food, you get all this money, all this, you don't see all this, but the deal is you don't have it. You don't have it. It's a front, it's a facade of freedom. And they, they can move on you when they want to move, because your mindset, that's what the state, it's similar. I'm gonna say this one time, I told Face for Ghetto Boys. I said, listen, man, we like them dogs in them Houston dog shows. You go look at them Houston dog shows, they come in. Them dog trainers. They walk amongst them pit bulls. Them pit bulls be in there growling, biting, eating each other up. And you see them dog owners walk up in there without nothing, and them pit bulls don't do nothing. They know their mindset. Don't fight against the train. And they throw them chains around their neck. They have been trained to kill each other. They ain't no problem with no bunch of guys in the community who their mindset, you know what I'm saying? Is to shoot each other. When you start talking about politicizing these cats, they say, whoa, now it's a problem with the gun.
Right.
Now it's a problem with the gun. And the Black Panther Party heightened the contradiction. They politicized the gun.
Right. If you're just joining us, we just finished watching a conversation at the museum with Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., his mother, Mama Akua Njeri, formerly known as Deborah Johnson, and attorney James D. Montgomery. It was moderated by Professor Kim Delaney. We are saving the Hampton House, which is the childhood home of Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., and the home was saved from foreclosure. We are trying to bring it up to code and then turn it into an exhibit dedicated to Chairman Fred and the Illinois chapter, well, actually the entire Black Panther Party with the programs and everything. And I am going to open up the floor because I'm sure today we had a full day, December 4th, 2020, which is International Revolutionary Day, where we stopped to acknowledge the assassinations of Chairman Fred and Deputy Defense Captain Mark Clark. And
can I add one more thing?
Yes, ma'am, of course.
I just want to say real briefly, I don't know if I said it during the interview or not, when you were talking about when we were going to court, you couldn't sit in the courtroom if you were going to, if you were being called to testify. You couldn't sit in the courtroom till after you testified. And so I was scheduled to come in, and Attorney Montgomery entered a motion or whatever you do to the judge, to the court, and I can't do how he did it, but that it was ridiculous to expect that his client, Deborah Johnson, could come into the courtroom and testify when the same police that were armed and came into her apartment and assassinated her husband in pre-dawn hours are armed in this courtroom. They shut it down, and they took all their guns. They had to check their guns. I forgot about that.
That's huge.
That was Jim Montgomery.
That was the attorney Jim Montgomery.
And the video is available. If you did not see it tonight, you can always go back. It's on the Save the Hampton House, excuse me, I say Save the Hampton House too, the hamptonhouse.org website. And Chairman, go ahead, and then we want to open up the floor. It's 8:40, so we just want to be cognizant of the time.
I just wanted to add that time, that climate, for Attorney Montgomery to put that motion in. I recall when I was fighting the trumped up case in 1992, which is a state that claimed I was supposed to firebomb two Korean-owned stores in the south side of Chicago after the verdict rendered by Semi Valley by the LAPD beating Rodney King. And I recall we going to court and the police up in there, they armed. And when we approached the attorney, I had Robert Willis, he couldn't even reference that. I said, put a motion in that we should be the ones should be, you know what I'm saying, concerned about our security. His, you know what I'm saying, he came in with all this kente cloth and conscience and black talk, but he could not relate. He was like, what do you mean?
Yes,
I said,
he
even if
did.
it don't go, I need you to just do your role legally. See, it was a climate during the 60s with different entertainers, the attorneys, like even, let's go to Sada Shakura's case. Her biological auntie, Evelyn Williams, legally, she disagreed with Asada doing a radio interview from jail. It was legally, she said, she referred to it as legal suicide. She said, however, I respect what you got to do. It was political survival that Asada done. Asada, who had been a woman placed in an all men's prison. It was political survival. It was a climate where you had the athletes, Muhammad Ali, the entertainer, Sam Cooke. It was like, you know, it was like the ambiance was beautiful. The type of the prisoners, Field Marshal George Jackson, you know what I'm saying, on the BSUs. It was a climate. The ante was up. Relationships. Chairman Fred used to say the best dressed brother is one with a leather jacket on 40 in the 45. Not
that's
who
right.
Cats were competing. How many people I served in the breakfast program? One know how many guys you killed. One know how much dope you sold. It was a climate. It was a different type of, like in Vietnam, a different type of prostitute. It was a different dynamic. You know what I'm saying? We approached this attorney with, on my case at that time, he couldn't understand. He didn't fathom. He said, what do you mean put emotion in? I said, they assassinated my father, Chairman Fred. Put emotion. I got it. We got it from there. He couldn't relate to it. And it was premature. No matter what we told him, all the books we get, he had all this stuff about African history he knew about. He couldn't, he had no faith. He had no faith. He had no reference, no frame of reference. A lot of people have no frame of reference. In the 60s, the Black Power movement, people seen organizations stand up. They seen real music. They would have something to relate to, and that's what we're fighting for right now.
If you have a question for Chairman Fred or Mama Akua, let us know. I think everybody's muted, so I don't know how. Hold on. Chuck, you got anything while I unmute people?
Everything you said is on point. I'm born in 1960, so I grew up in New York, and fortunately, when I went to my grandmother's house, we was part of the Panther lunch programs, 68, 69, 60.
Uh-oh.
And
I
we always knew, number one, we knew that number one, police dogs were watchdogs. Police are watchdogs of the government. So that automatically would take your conversation, your intellect to a higher form to defend. And we knew even back then as shorties that the gun was really there, but also the threat was what the Black Panther Party taught us, is to raise our intellect, because we kept looking at these young brothers and sisters and said, man, they know the law. And that was always the evasive issue. Like, how well do you know the law to where you can actually turn the law on the law? And we grew up admiring that, and therefore we knew that we wanted to have a intellectual upgrade, and whatever we got into in our life, we understood that the job was to defer the light over the people that do real things. So even my beginnings as an artist and entertainer, I never forsaken and took for granted the action of real people doing real things at real times and real places, because we suffer for that. So I made no light of that. Our whole job, even as artists to this day, was to point to the real people doing real things for us at all times, and not take the position of going outside our lane as being a talking head that know it all. And that's why I really admire what's being heard and said today, because the same thing I've been saying all my life is saying, these are the real people who did real things all the time, and I'm here to remind y'all and push the issue and be on call in case I'm called. So that's all I'm gonna say on that one. Because Kwame Ture told me, he said, listen, man, we were on James Brown every day. And then Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud did come out, but not because we wasn't pushing him. so
you're right.
Don't get Chairman started. Don't get Chairman started.
But it was the nerve and the audacity of knowing the law and learning it better than the law makes it clearly as shorties. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
Right on.
If anybody has, I'm going to let everyone unmute themselves if they have.
Can I ask another question? Well, here's my question. I'm sorry, I got off the. In pockets of COINTELPRO where you had Chicago, what was the situation of other Panther Party affiliates or departments or other cities that were in the neighboring Midwest area at the time? Were they kind of like looking at Chicago as headquarters, or were they coming up with some of their own agendas and maybe could have been infiltrated as well? I'm talking Gary, I'm talking Cleveland, I'm talking Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, and even Iowa, and that Midwest belt around there, Detroit or whatever. What was their correspondence to the headquarters when all this even went down with Brother Clark and Brother Hampton?
You want to hit that Mother Akua on the camera? Mama Akua?
Can you hear me? I want you to take it, Chair.
One of the
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm speaking. Let me preface with this. You know what I'm saying? I chair the Black Panther Party Cubs. I was not physically there, but I study it. It was one of the benefits of a structure of you know what I'm saying of a structure, and we see this in other entities. You know what I'm saying? When you go back and look at what's the big military academy with the United States?
West Point.
West Point.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they can break down patterns, tactics, and everything. They internalize when they study them. And one of a pro with a structure. A lot of people have a disdain for structure, but a structure balances off. Whether like a car, if your spark plug is weak in certain parts, you know what I'm saying, it's other parts of the car can carry it, and you can't pinpoint those weak, you know what I'm saying, those weak points. And I always, like, a lot of people hear me talk about Chicago, and sometimes they think I'm being subjective, like, oh man, yeah, Chicago. The deal is, it's a structural place, but not due in part only because of those who are colonized in Chicago. Like I say, in Brazil, when I was talking to a deputy chairwoman in Brazil, and I went there. I said, "Man, look how that beat is still phenomenal here." And I say it's not because due in part to just them. You have to take into account the Portuguese had never outlawed the drum as opposed to the Americans. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at Chicago, the structure, everything from the race dynamic to, even when Al Capone, they came to Chicago, the structure to it. And so there are pros and cons to different dynamics. Some of the branches that you mentioned, the other places. So the party was able to say, there's one Black Panther Party. And when we have deficiencies in one place, our strengths can play off that and vice versa. We go, you know what I'm saying? There was, like, for example, you had Defense Captain Mark Clark. You know what I'm saying? Who was in Chicago. You had forces from Rockford, different branches. Chairman was a deputy chairman for the state of Illinois.
They may not know where Captain was from.
Defense Captain Mark Clark was out of Peoria, Illinois. You had different branches, you know what I'm saying, throughout the state, throughout the country. It's kind of like you look at the state of Illinois. Well, it's like a understanding between the Republican Party and Democratic Party. It's like, listen, we're gonna make this happen. You know what I'm saying? The Republicans, run the state's institutions and the various dynamics of Chicago, the Chicago politics. We know for sure that the daily machine or the machine is gonna get those, is gonna exploit the fact that Cook County at one time was the largest county of Black people per capita in the country. Now, you know what I'm saying? And when people cross that line, as we've seen, there was a conflict between former Governor Blagojevich and Daley. When Blagojevich brought the state police into Chicago, he said, whoa, you crossing the line. We have an understanding on how this works. The Panther Party, there was an understanding. They would take into account there were different dynamics in, let's say, for example, the Bay Area, how they work with the race question, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to Chicago. They acknowledge these different contradictions, say, how can we, the deal is, at the end of the day, how does a 10-point platform get pushed forward? You know what I'm saying? They say, okay, this is the best representative here. So, you know what I'm saying? So agent provocateurs in different places. That same structure that was in Chicago it didn't fit in certain locations. You know what I'm saying? A lot of cats couldn't even relate to it. But the deal is they related to democratic centralism. They relate to a structure that here, like, okay, this is the deputy chairman, this is the chairman, this is the minister of defense. We have a 10-point platform that's not to be altered, not to be changed. And there were certain branches that would say, well, I'm gonna do my own thing. And you know what I'm saying? You had to have what we call chapter checks, where they go down and say, man, no, this ain't how this go. You know what I'm saying? That was, you know, if prior to Chairman Fred being assassinated, there was some contradictions. They had to go down to Carbondale, and, you know what I'm saying, and deal with some contradictions, you know what I'm saying, to come back. So it was checks and balances to say, this is not, you know what I'm saying, because a lot of people, they want to pop up and say, well, I'm doing my own thing. No, you adhere to a national, we have a central committee. You know what I'm saying? This is the platform. We'll give you certain leeway to do certain things, but at the end of the day, I tell people, like, look at a lot of them pictures of Chairman Fred. As soon as you say, damn, they didn't have the beret on, the leather jacket. And I wasn't there, but I'm sure they said, man, at the end of the day, these cats not going nowhere. They're gonna bring it back to the party platform. They're gonna bring it back, just into serving the people. And so there are certain consistencies that we see. An agent provocateur, whether they be in Gary, whether it be in, you know what I'm saying, whether it be in Chicago, Champaign, it's an agent provocateur. You know what I'm saying? We can say, we can debate on football teams that, well, I like this team, I like that better, I like that better. But when it comes to the politics, when it comes to the counterinsurgency, when it comes to assassinations, and this was going down, when J. Edgar Hoover issued that mandate, that edict,
I was just about to say.
He didn't say, man, listen, man, these niggas in this city is a problem. He said the Black Panther Party represents the #1 threat to the internal security of the United States. After Jake Winters,
Right.
Spurgeon Jake Winters, November 13, 1969, after he was assassinated after defending himself, the next day, the Chicago Tribune ran a front page article of Richard Milhouse Nixon saying, the Panthers got the last one, we get the next one. They surveyed, the government has surveyed the whole country. And they say, listen, California, Bunchy Carter, Chicago, they surveyed Chicago, Chairman. They surveyed, and there's still people that we don't know about. They, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people even know their own potential. They seize the time. They take different weeks, like spark plugs and transmissions and all these different combinations of these parts of this car, and take it to the world. Matter of fact, on an international level, where the world said, man, these cats are standing up at the same time, not these sporadic incidents of, oh man, it's the niggas going crazy down south. It's the niggas going crazy on the East Coast. This organization said, we coming to the world. May 2nd, 1967, when they marched in the state legislature, the executive mandate #1 by Minister U.E.P. Newton, it didn't say in Oakland, California, how the gun is going to be used and reviewed. It said the Black community, every one of their mandates, you know what I'm saying, their programs, the breakfast program, they didn't say, Gary, you do breakfast program. They said, man, we want survival programs throughout every colonized community, throughout every branch. Well, we want to serve breakfast at this time. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. However, there's a universal mandate on how this got to work. You know what I'm saying? And that's the balancing act where the state cannot pick out the weak forces. Even in Chicago, there were struggles. There were internal struggles. There were class contradictions. You know what I'm saying? However, you can pick out the weak forces. You know what I'm saying? Say, man, everybody on that breakfast program. Everybody, you know what I'm saying, for the drill, you know what I'm saying? You know, and it up the ante. And you know what I'm saying? And that's the response that they dealt with it, you know what I'm saying? Because again, it's in a place, that's the dynamic of structure. You know what I'm saying? We can say, man, we can't pick out the weak forces. This is an organization. This is a car. This is a vehicle. This ain't no unicycle. This ain't no one-man bike. This is a plane where they are getting all the people on. And you know what I'm saying? And they, you know what I'm saying? And these parts, if we hit one of them, we don't know if we hit one of them, it's gonna be a response. When they assassinated Chairman Fred, there was responses all over the world.
That's right.
We have another question from hashtag IRD2020. Please unmute yourself and ask away.
Thank you. It must have been hard for you because there are two IRD 2020.
I know.
Mine
I'm like,
has
don't know who they are. Only one raised their hand, so.
I'm just very happy to be here. Chairman Fred Hampton means a lot to me. You can kill the revolutionary, but you cannot kill the revolution. And I'm very happy to see Baby Hampton right here representing his dad. I mean, I know it must have been hard for you to be raised without a dad. You were probably not even 1 year old when that happened to your dad. Uh, I don't just learn about history in my case, I live history. In one of my goals in life is to be able to mentor, to be one of the mentor for uh, Malcolm X, one of Malcolm X heir, and your dad's heir. That will be one of the greatest honor in my life to do so. So I'm happy to see that you're continuing the work of your dad. I had a question for Mama. I'm only 35 years old. Chairman Hampton was only 21. And when I see everything these kids have done, like all the Black Panther leaders, all the things they've done, they were only in their 20s. And I'm 35 years old right now. I'm like, wow. I mean, I have not done anything. Like, what was Chairman Hampton like as a person? Like, please tell me about him. Like, that would be great for me to hear right now.
Mama Akua, that was directed for you, to you.
I'm not. I really don't understand the question.
What was Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. like as a person?
First and foremost, like we said in that interview, whatever he did, he was a revolutionary. First and foremost, people loved him. If the thing about Chairman Fred, his sincerity, his belief in the party and the principles of the party, that was what guided his life, what guided his work, and his fight to make power to the people a reality in the context of the Black Panther Party. That's what he dedicated his life to. People that met him or heard him speak, they knew he was sincere about this business of revolution and self-determination. And people always felt that they were one and the same with Chairman Fred. He wasn't just some abstract intellectual that sat out and theorized. People would come into the office complaining about their inability to sell 250 papers a week. That was our quota, what we needed to do. And Chairman Fred would take them out right in front of the office on Madison and Western and show them how to engage the people and talk to the people, knocking on car windows and saying what's in this paper, and, encouraging people to not take it as a task, but as an opportunity to educate and work with the people in the community. So that's the kind of leader he was.
Do we have any other questions for Mama Akua or Chairman Fred while we have them with us? And Chairman, if we don't have any more questions, how would you describe today? Were you satisfied with we had to do things a bit different this year virtually, but what's your feeling about how International Revolutionary Day went?
I have a comment when I can.
Okay, we'll just let him answer this and then you can jump right in.
Okay.
I'm still, as Chairman Fred would say, I'm still too proletarian, revolutionary, intoxicated to be astronomically intimidated.
Right on.
Proletarian, revolutionary, intoxicated to be astronomically intimidated. And
break it down.
What that means in plain layman terms is I'm too high of the people to be shook up. Today's event, I've been up all night, around 4:30 this morning in particular, which was approximate time that the government, the Chicago police came into assassination. And I sat back and I debated on how we gonna deal with this move. You take into account this climate with the coronavirus, the pandemic, so on and so forth. And we relate to the old axiom that says more work in peacetime, less work in wartime. And we have events where, you know, and I'm strategically, we plant political seeds. And we always look for, and I tell people, look at this, go back and look at this, look at what December 4th objectively. Ask some questions like, damn, how did Deborah Johnson move so strategically, so scientific? Like, did it just, what training was in? A lot of these people talk about training in an abstract type of way, but they was engaged in every day. And the reality, I'm not even going into details, some of the protocols that were put in place, you know what I'm saying, to the government, the police coming in. So some things are premature. The people, you know, some conversations, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing like I respect about the ruling class. They deal with need to know basis. A lot of people believe that everybody just needs to know everything. But the deal is there are certain things that are put in place that we go through, and you know what I'm saying, a lot of people be talking and hear them say, I tell people, like, contrary to popular belief, I'm not crazy about, you know, speaking, so on and so forth. But when we talking, we laying this stuff down for a reason. When I was locked up, when I was in prison, there were certain things that we laid out, and then even a lot of the cats, other prisoners couldn't see it coming. When they would come with those isolations, when they would come with those lockdown, you know, so they come down, no visits. People like, damn, I can't believe they doing this. We have put stuff in place to be able to deal with this here. You know what I'm saying? And so many instances, our community is moving a reactionary way. Today was a phenomenal. I said, let me pull this off. And I also struggle. I say, let's stick and move with it. We wanted to provide an example. I watched the news last night. I watched the media going at all these different politicians. Look at these events they doing. They're not social distancing. Look at the mayor of San Francisco. Look at the mayor of this state. You know what I'm saying? And the ruling class does is they put you in absolutes. Either you relate to their policies and their tactics, or you don't do nothing at all. So a lot of our communities are confused. Like, well, damn, do I just shut down and die? You don't do nothing? You know what I'm saying? We can't organize. Today, we came there, and my plan was, and it worked pretty good. Get to the event, get to the site. We would, each house, you know, each house, you need no measuring stick for 6 feet. Get there, 5-minute silent vigil.
Excuse me, Chairman, can somebody please mute their audio while he's speaking? Thank you.
You can make it through.
Go ahead, Chairman.
Each house, we get there and stick and move. You know what I'm saying? We say, you know what I'm saying? We say whatever. It comes to a stage in the game where the birds know, the birds know head south. There's no big, the birds ain't gonna call no big meeting. They ain't gotta explain about, you know, where the wind is blowing this direction, the weather's going, what the weather is saying. When hunting season is on, okay, heads up. You know what I'm saying? On the streets, cats used to know, hey man, the police hot, man, and then let's talk about it. Shut the spot down. So let's slow the spot down. You know what I'm saying? Police is hot. In movements, we have to grasp the fact that, you know what I'm saying, any given time, you know what I'm saying? You go back in December 4th, what happened in Chicago, December 5th, LA, you know what I'm saying, hit, you know what I'm saying? These are back to back. There was, man, they didn't have cell phones back then. Man, you had to stick and move. You had to pick, you had to grasp up into it. You had to say, okay, man, they coming for us, man. How you move? Get out the country. Go, you know what I'm saying? Go here. Go, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Touch down with this person. The Panther Party had stuff in place. I'm not gonna go into details. They had 10-10-10 programs. They had situations where, you know what I'm saying, where the community embraced them. Like, okay, when Assata Shakur was on the run, you had people putting on spray paint. Assata, you welcome here. It was a climber. When you came out to somebody's door, they weren't asking you what you running for. They, you know what I'm saying, they were, what the police do, what you do to the police. The party had done so much propaganda, so much political education, where the people were clear on the police. So today, I say game time. Game time. Let's see who want to sit back and forth. Let's see if the fruits of our labor gonna come out. All this talk with me coming at 12 o'clock, coming silent vigil. I want, if nothing but for a few minutes so people can see that. Let me say one thing we had to struggle about on the movie, in regards to the movie on Chairman Fred. It was an era of time. I said, no, that was 1969. That was a climate where the people pride was up. It was the music, the movement, everything that should be acknowledged. Every person, every child in particular, should have some frame of reference. Say that's a period where we stood up in a family. Every child should have say even if their parents are divorced, even if their parents have been going through some struggles, being demoralized, it should be some reference. Nipsey Hussle talked about when he went to Eritrea, when they stopped the whole city, and now they called the Don, the whole families came and ate dinner together. That stuck in his mind. That stuck with him. I wanted today to stick in the minds and the hearts of people to say, man, we were disciplined at a certain time, at a certain period, for a common goal, for a common cause, to acknowledge something people who I have differences with. So today it was phenomenal. It was a time that if they kill us tomorrow, you know what I'm saying? There are certain events we do. I say, man, we done that. I tell people all the time, the Black Panther Party, they pull some moves off. They got some contradictions, but the pros outweigh the cons. You can at least go back and relate to, that was, some frame of reference, as opposed to a lot of these youngsters now. A lot of people have no frame of reference of real music, a meal. You know what I'm saying? It's something, your grandma making you a meal. When you come out, that's just sticking your mind, your meal. A lot of these cats, they never had no frame of reference to that. A relationship. Even if you break up tomorrow, it's some people in your life you look and say, man, that was a good thing I had with that sister. That was right on with that brother. We had our differences, but I remember us going to the movies together. That impacts you. Today was one of those moments when we hit the minds and hearts of the people. They say, man, why they had I want people to see them pictures. Why they got the mask on their face? What was going on at that time? Man, we came and that man said, stick and move. We stood up with our fist in the air. We would commemorate, and people who came on the news, they didn't know the details. They got in line. There was a time when I was locked up in prison. TAM, Supermax. When they took me there, I'm gonna say, let me bare my soul for a minute. They pulled me up in a van, and one guard said to me, he said, George Hampton, that's he said, I remember you. He said, we the one that pissed over all your mail and your property. This your gonna be your last stop. They pulled me up to Graham Penitentiary, and the Graham said, he can't come here. We don't want him in 1 minute.
That's right.
And I told the lieutenant, I said, well, just let me go. Send me to the streets then.
They want me. They want me.
They took me to TAM Supermax. They pulled me up in a big warehouse. It was all dark. We was in a white van. And they called them the Orange Crush. The guards came up. They got the beating the van with sticks and hollering. I asked the guard to say he knew me. I said, excuse me, sir. You say you know me? He said, yeah. I said, can we go past the foreplay? Can we go past? I said, you know me. You know this. Can we go past this? He got the car. He said, give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. He got the car. He said, yeah. He said, dismiss him with that. They stopped and they left. They took me into a room, stripped me naked, put me in a modern day slave block, shackles on my ankles and shackles on my handcuffs. They said they want to check me for tattoos, and they turned me around full circle. Then the women guards came in while I was naked with nothing but handcuffs and shackles on. While they were documenting me like on a slave block. Then they took me, the policy was to never take you on a cell on a unit where other prisoners knew you at. Kind of like when the seasoning period, when they took you from Africa, they took you to Cuba, Puerto Rico, they divided you up.
Yes, sir.
They took me to different units. Every unit they took me on, brothers were looking through the holes, say, hey, Uhuru, free him all as the chairman. So they took me, after the fourth unit, the shackles started cutting into my ankles and they was bleeding. I was telling the brothers, be cool, don't say nothing. I need to sit down for a minute. They took me to this one unit. When I got there, they put me upstairs, put me in a cell. Brother named Brian Smith, AKA Gov. ID number B-06552. This is my religion. This sticks with me.
Yes.
ID numbers and all. Jackie Wilson, A-91001.
Yes.
When they put me in that cell, when I heard them, Superintendent Griffin and others would come on a tour from Stateville Prison, and they would say Hampton was upstairs. I said, make sure I'm better. As a Field Marshal George Jackson said, they'd never count me amongst the broken men. I felt them looking at cell when I'm sitting down in that empty cell, watching me to see if I'm broken. I'm sitting right there. And I remember, finally, the word got out. They had called all us for a visit by mistake. All of us came down. Casper for the Latin Kings, Brisbane, all these legends. We was all these different cell blocks and these cages. And all these, I'm like, whoa, I come down. In Brisbane, he's known for doing something to these guards all the time. He got a hell of a history. And my first time seeing him, I think this guy about 4 feet tall with some thick glasses. I said, you Brisbane, you Henry Brisbane? He said, yeah. And then Casper, he said, man, it's good you here. I said, shit, what do you mean by that? I'm not glad. He said, no, you're gonna bring attention to something that's going on down here, man. He says, we honored to have you here. And they got the name in their names. Who was who? I said, man, I'm honored to be in y'all midst. And the aura of that, and then, you know what I'm saying, to go back, when they took me back to the cage, and that, I kind of lost my train of thought, but that dynamic of being amongst them, that part of history, it reverberated all through the other prisons, throughout the camps, and they would tell us, they would show us the paper, no one leaves towns unless you leave out in a body bag or mentally unstable.
That's right.
I remember the night they came to get me out of there. The call-ins from all over the world were putting pressure on me.
Yes.
I remember them coming and popping the cell door and saying, let's go. And it supported the people that got me up out of there.
Yes, sir. Yes, it did.
And it's infectious. And people say, how did you do that? I said, the people. And that's the dynamic that we have to relate. Those are the type of real stories that people have to know about. Yes. That's what kept me alive.
Yes.
And the people said, if it wasn't been for the people, I would have came out of there in a body bag if I come out of there at all. So those are dynamics about, what happened in the connection to the outside community. I know I just had to get it up. I
was asking about today, and then, but now I want to play a small recording too, but go ahead.
Today. Yeah. Today is one of those moments. Today is one of those moments because see, it's like in a relationship. Some people go and say, no, remember we did this? She's like, we didn't go out on no great date. He said, no, remember we didn't have no money. We didn't have no place to stay. And that's why that sticks in our relationship. That's you like, you had a relationship with this dude and this guy, everything was good, but those conditions. Minister UEP News said, his mama said, a preacher said, a certain amount of suffering is good for the soul.
Yes, sir.
During this coronavirus, during this pandemic, we went out there today, we moved strategically, we moved cautiously, and we still commemorated Chairman Fred and the Fist of the Mark Claw. It's going to stick to the hearts and minds of people. I didn't know how long it could last. When certain people came, I said, they gonna mess it up. I said, I just want to get this done, to have an image for future generations. If you remember earlier today, I was like, okay, I gotta go. Because I knew, certain folks, but the deal is, there's certain images that stick in our mind. In relationships, you're like, that's the day that was the day we ate good. Our mama, we ate good. Today was one of those days. We could talk about. Remember the coronavirus? Yeah, couldn't go outside. Everybody's scared. You say no. Do we move reactionary and just say no? Or we just shut up? We move strategically. We move, as Fred say, move fast. We move organized. They say on our own terms. When the police pulled up at the wall, they said, "What's going on?" The people were disciplined. They were disciplined, and we capable of doing that. On our own terms. And I want people to know that we can make music on our own terms. We can make love on our own terms. We can make struggle on our own terms. We can commemorate on our own terms. I remember, I must close with this. I remember being locked up. being in isolation in tabs, and using sign language and beats on the window. Clenched it, when the government was about to execute Anthony Porter, the day they was going to execute Anthony Porter, a white prisoner was the only one getting mail in. We would time the doors when the doors open. Heads up, we would communicate with each other. Orly Thomas, Orly Head, that's his name, that's his real name, Orly Thomas. He's still locked up now. And that day, they was going to execute Orly Thomas. We organized a hunger strike throughout the Supermax prison.
Yes.
A guard named Cox, C-O-X, he came to the cell. He said, Mr. Hampton, he got to stay. They're not going to execute him. Call the hunger strike up. I said, who told you I called the hunger strike? Where you get that from? Then I said, we didn't heard that. And when the guard left, the white prisoner, he said, Chairman, I got the mail. It's the state. I said, okay. So the hunger strike was off. And the guards came and said, just tell us how you done this. It wasn't me. It was the people. It was brothers downstairs who had, I'm gonna say there's one brother who's downstairs from me. He reminded me of being in the basement at my home when we were 14 years old. And we had a physical fight because he laughed at a DVD of the Panthers about their clothes. And we had a physical fight down in the basement. He helped put the word out. He said, Chairman, you've been on this all the time. We organized the prison, and that sticks in my mind to be in the Supermax organizer. Yes, we had a hunger strike for somebody that was going to be executed. Today, we had discipline. That sticks in my mind and my heart.
Yeah. I had a comment. Hold your comment for 90 seconds. I want to play something. First is a little clip, and then someone that we met today who remembered the night that Chairman was assassinated.
Do you have video by any chance? Or can you share it with us?
Hold on. Now we're going to hear from somebody that we met today. It's unedited. What's your name, please? Sorry.
My name is Cleve Jackson.
Cleve Jackson. Go ahead. And you used to live where?
I was living on 1720 West Adams in Woods.
And go ahead. What did you witness or what happened?
Well, they had turned all the lights off. I was 12 years old, and I heard a lot of shots. Boom, 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 boom. It was so dark you couldn't see nothing. And after all that happened, when I went inside the house, they had bullet holes where they were shooting inside. Holes all in the wall. Then they dragged him out the bed. There was blood all on the mattress where they dragged him out. I seen all that. That wasn't right.
That's right.
Right.
We honored to have you here with us 51 years later, brother. You know, so the beat goes home, man. Revolutionary love, respect.
He said when they said that they turned off all the lights, he was talking about, he lived on Adams, not on Monroe, and all the street lights, everything was all out before what the Panthers say when they vamped on that home, on that building, they had turned off all the lights in the area. And I just wanted you all to hear that those are the kind of people that show up at these events, and it really was beautiful. But I'm going to let someone had a comment that she wanted to make. It's 9:20. You're listening to Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., Mama Akua Njeri, after a conversation with the DuSable Museum, and it is available on thehamptonhouse.org. Someone was there who are you still there with your comment?
I'm still here. I'm Connie Harvey. And I was there. Debbie and I go back maybe 53 years cooking breakfast. This was the first free breakfast for the children. Somebody else claimed it after that, but that wasn't true. But my comment, I heard Fred say, well, I wasn't there. And I thought, well, yes, you were there. You really were there, because I listened to him and I've been watching him since he was a baby. And it's just everything from Fred, who was my cousin, by the way. It's ingrained in him and he cannot help himself. There is no way that he could be the person that he is today if this was not ingrained in him. So yeah, Fred, you were there. I call you Lil Fred, but you were there. You may not have been aware, but all of this was pumped into you. And Debbie, I just want to,
You can still call me Debbie.
I was waiting. I was waiting.
You can still call me Debbie.
Sometimes I don't pronounce it right. But anyway, you know, I love you. And, you know, I don't know.
Love you too, Connie.
We love you, Connie.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. And so, it's you were there. You were there.
Yes.
You might have been in Debbie's tummy, but you were there and you were sucking it all in. There's no way you could talk like this today.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We love you and appreciate
Power to the people.
Love you and appreciate you. Power to the people.
Power to the people. Right on.
Do we have any more questions or comments? If not, we will do our closing remarks. We don't want to hold you all night. Any more questions or comments about the International Revolutionary Day? Chairman Fred?
I have something.
Okay.
Go ahead, Senator Eddie.
I just want to say what's up to the chairman and Mother Akua. This is Senator Eddie Melton here.
Brother, yes, sir.
From Gary, Indiana. Yeah. Senator Eddie Melton from Gary, Indiana. I came to visit the Hampton house a couple of months ago.
Yes.
It was transformational for me. And
right on.
I want to say that the fight and the struggle that we fight in the State House here in Indiana, you know, going to the Hampton House to me and spending time with you, Chairman, Representative Reagan Hatcher, which is the daughter of Mayor Richard Gordon Hatcher.
First black man.
We have a tremendous fight on our hands here in Indiana, as you already know, when it comes down to police brutality, when it comes down to so many things, as we can see it, the way Gary, Indiana is positioned right now economically. So I just want to say thank you. And there's no reason why we shouldn't work closer, being so close from Gary to Chicago. I think there's so many opportunities for us to collaborate, to uplift our people. So I'm here to be of assistance any way that I can. I just want to say I appreciate the love that you've shown.
Right on. Man, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you and our brother come through, man, when he first get out, the work you done on his case, clemency, and just in general. And before that, you know what I'm saying, as you reminded me that we know, you know what I'm saying, in the Chuku, you know, we know each other. And I just want, you know, I don't know, I want to respect the structure, you know, so I know later says somebody close remarks, but I just want to get this off my chest, man. Just this array of forces. We always distinguish a war from revolution. And I'm just, you know what I'm saying, from those, this is a contrast from what we've been told to believe, the politicians that we get, the entertainers that we get, the journalists that we get, and you know what I'm saying, man, yourself, Senator, man, Chuck D, I see Brother Cobby, man, and this technology, leave it up to me, we would have been on here with 2 tin cans and a string talking to each other. So all the forces, everyone's energy here, Connie calling me, you know what I'm saying? I just seen Lady Rage pop in, you know what I'm saying? But all the forces calling, and I definitely, Mother Comrade, you know what I'm saying? Hey, on this day, politics is like real estate. you know what I'm saying, time and location on this day for us, you know what I'm saying, to call in. Hey, I'm on, hey man, I'm just scared. I hope I don't overdose, man. I am on charge. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, seeing these conversations, these struggles, everything, and, you know, and just to be able to document this here again, put this in, I tell you, put this in a time capsule, bury it. Like they just like Timbuktu, bury it. So future generations can go back and look this, man. You know, I even proposed, I said, I'll come a few days before, and I said 100 wild horses and 1,000 pigs can hold the back of this. This was so, I could look at people, it was cleansing today. You know what I'm saying? To be able to come there, and we have to be able to do certain things, you know, but still be scientific, still be strategic, because the deal is, we doing some real contradictions. You know what I'm talking about? You know, man, there are party members that we, you know, say whose health issues, and you know, go into that, the details. You know, later I know you, with your family, so many other people, man. You know, but we don't want to just. I think the Claude McKay poem said, we don't want to be that dies dogs, the hogs being led to slaughter. You know what I'm saying? Just lay up and die. So if nothing else, to leave something that this we was doing. I don't want to come and say, well, okay, I heard about the pandemic. What y'all do? Just sit down there. Man, we want to leave something. You know, and again, I appreciate. I'm not, when I say Panther Cub, I'm not just talking about my biological parents. I'm talking that legacy. I'm scared of what would happen if I didn't have that template, that prototype to say, man, you know, they were killing us back then. Okay, and just not to know that people did nothing up to what to hear that. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to say, okay, you know, again, just even that you serve people that you know what I'm saying, against all odds. So I'm honored, and I'm honored that we can be able to lay out what we, you know what I'm saying, the position that we're taking here and to document it. You know what I'm saying? Again, I just wish we put it in a time capsule so future generations, because a lot of these cats ain't got no frame of reference. You know what I'm saying, or nothing before them. So we gotta hit them with it. Let's hit them with it. Let's seize the time.
Okay, we're going to take another musical break. Any more questions or comments before we say goodnight on International Revolutionary Day, December 4th, 2020?
Yeah, good evening. I just wanted to remind everybody, the hamptonhouse.org, those who contribute to assisting, so later can definitely make sure you remind people. And also too, if people can just forward that site to people, because sometimes we hear about raising funds and we can become numb to it. You could be like, okay, yeah, but really, if everybody here just forwards that site to one person, that's a great contribution. It's not a small thing. And I just want to remind people of that. Everybody could just forward that site to one person at minimum. Don't let your minimum be your maximum. Don't let your, you know what I mean? Yeah. But just do it. At least one person. If you could do more, do more.
And we also want to say the Hampton House is the last remaining structure. We have not just us, the committee, but even other journalists. We've all been, and even people from the Landmark Association, we've all been trying to find any other original structures of the Black Panther Party in Chicago. So it's incumbent on us to save the Hampton House and turn it into a museum dedicated to Panther Party. Cameron, you want to say goodnight to everyone?
One last thing.
I had dropped off, but I'm back.
Yes, ma'am.
Free them all, power to the people, save the Hampton House.
Yeah, man, I just wanted to
power to the people.
Make an announcement about the documentary.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working on a documentary entitled Chairman, which is covering the life of Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., Mama Akua, Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., and the struggle, and we just pulling back the layers on a revolutionary family who's dedicated their life of service to the people. The trailer is up now. Is on my Instagram. It's Gravity_Films. Maybe a bit. I guess Chairman will put it up soon.
And we'll have it on the hamptonhouse.org. It'll be on hamptonhouse.org. Today was just, today we just couldn't do everything, but we'll get it up this weekend for sure.
It's going to be a very impactful thing. The point of the story is to show people the struggle, to inspire them, but also to go over the trauma and what we went through, but to inspire them to do more, and that we can do things, that we can make change, and to highlight the story of Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. and to hopefully let people know that for those who feel like, man, if I was here during the Black Panther time, if I was here during Chairman, Fred Hampton Sr.'s time, what they would do, how dedicated they would be, that you still have opportunity. The Black Panther Cubs are here. You can put that effort. You can test your will, your effort, and your patience and your consistency by showing up, even if it's doing something small. And for those people who are scared of being part of an organization, here to take you, even if you're not part of it. If you want to help, if you want to give something or put a light bulb in and you're not part of the technical part, you still can help. Don't be scared.
Right on.
Right on.
If I may just add real quick, Fred, you have a very powerful name.
Chairman. Let's
Yeah,
practice.
we call him Chairman.
Chairman. You have a very powerful name. Use it. Okay, we need your voice now more than ever, brother.
And I need the people, and I mean that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm honored, and I'm humbled to serve. You know what I'm saying? They say in church, that's your calling. This is my calling, and I'm honored and I'm humbled to serve. I thank you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I thank all y'all. We thank all y'all this day. You know what I'm saying? Again, you know what I'm saying? If y'all pull away from whatever y'all doing, and all aspects from sharing this. I know I be up, man. Roz, changes fly around and struggles we have, and
Is that an apology? Are you apologizing?
No.
Are you apologizing?
Absolutely not.
Apology. No,
Absolutely not.
That's an acknowledgement. That's an acknowledgement. I know. We're gonna push a hard line. You know what I'm saying? But that's an acknowledgement. That's an acknowledgement. We're gonna push a hard line, and I'm just and I just, man. A revolutionary is never satisfied, so we're gonna keep on flying.
Right.
But today, again, this was, hey, I'm on charge. You know what I'm saying?
Right on, Jim.
Get a breather. I'm saying I'm gonna sit back, get a breather, man, because this was, hey, again, the way to wind it down with this. All these phenomenal forces coming on here from different fields. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is it's ever developing, and we want to take this. And I know you're going to share it, and I just wish we could put it in a time capsule. I mean that. I mean that in real talk. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Again, so I'm humble, Mother Comrade. I don't know if you dropped off. Talking earlier, revolutionary love, respect, and appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was a difficult decision. We struggled about how we gonna you coming out there, but everybody, the discipline that was showed today, you know what I'm saying, and those who don't beat yourself up for those who wasn't there physically. This also,
we're glad.
This plays a key role. So we want to hit them from every which way. You know what I'm saying, physically, virtually, man. Hashtag IRD, hashtag 2020. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
Hell of tough times, tougher people.
Right on, Chairman.
Chairman, my name is Bilal, man. I just want to, greet you. I don't know what happened today, but whatever did happen is carrying through you. May the Creator bless the movement for our people. Bless you and protect you and grant us victory.
Right on.
Respect,
it's all on the Hampton House website. What happened today? The hamptonhouse.org.
Okay.
Respect, Brother Bilal. Right on.
Y'all hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so technology, free them all, first of all.
Free them all.
Technology is something, and it has allowed us to all come together, even though we couldn't physically be a part of International Revolutionary Day. I was at 11:59. I was pulling out of the Walgreens, picking up a prescription, and I looked at the clock. I had the timer set because I was like, okay, 12 o'clock, high noon, clenched fist salute. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had to pull over. A car honked at me. I looked, I had my fist up in the air, like, whatever.
Right on.
You know, this is serious. We take this serious. And like the hashtag said, wherever we are, clench fist salute.
Right
so,
on.
You know, I was running around, but I still, you know, took part. I still, and then I felt like, oh, I'm missing something. So I was on Instagram and Facebook looking to see, okay, what's going on? So finally got to see the conversations at the museum, and that was a beautiful thing. And Mama Akua, when you said the free breakfast program fed children, not only did they feed children, they fed children. And I was like, wow, you know, the education that they got, the everything, complete meal that they got, the food, the knowledge as well. So, and the brother at Gravity, what is it? Gravity Films, you said.
Hello?
Yeah, I think I'm sure her connection will come right back. And yeah, Kaba, I was gonna say maybe you should introduce yourself by name. There she is. You went out for just a sec. So that was Kaba you were addressing, but go ahead.
Okay. And I was like, yeah, if I was back in those times, this and that and that and this. And Chairman's like, back in those times, it's still going on now. Like, shoot, you can do this, you can still do this, and the struggle still continues. So I just wanted to give my solitary revolutionary appreciation, you know, for you, Mama Akua, being a part of the struggle, still fighting, still standing. You too, Chairman. You and the lady said you were there. You were there. The doctors always talk about how a baby can be affected in the womb. So all of that stuff you heard, you heard Chairman Senior. You heard you were there at meetings. You were there at the you was there at Ground Zero. You were there. So you definitely were affected by that in a good way, you know, because the struggle continues. It was something that I read a while ago that they took the lion, but they didn't know a cub was in the bush. So
right on, free them all. Yes, indeed.
Right on. Free them all.
Any other words from anyone?
Yes, I'd like to say one more thing. I was invited by Brother Kaba, and you know, I'm honored and appreciative of the familiar faces, the legendary faces, and you know, just the conversation of what's going on today. You know, I'm honored to be amongst you all.
We are
good to be with you. And let me say this real quick. Everybody can tune in to Free 'em All Radio on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, and you know, watch the website. They'll have the flyer and the call-in numbers. So it's every Wednesday at 6:30, Free 'em All Radio, and you could hear Chairman Fred and the co-host Lady of Rage, and what's going on with Black people all over the world.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Just wanted to say, give thanks, you know, and revolutionary love, honor, and respect to Chairman, Mother Comrade. Words can't express, you know, how humbled I am to contribute in any way, you know. So it means a lot, you know. And I really wanted to be there in person, but we made it happen, you know. And for those who don't know, Chairman was on multiple social media sites, so physically on the ground, boots on the ground, but also all over the internet. I'm talking about Clubhouse, this new app.
All over.
Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, you name it.
He was on every platform.
Holding court, and holding political education to the people on a day where some of our people want to talk about a rapper's birthday. They're going to get some real deal legacy about a real freedom fighter and the movement continuing. So just
Right
just so
on.
much respect and love always going out to y'all. Like, man, bulletproof love.
Thank you.
Cross for your
Right,
mom.
Black Ed. For real. Free them all.
And you know, Chairman, I want to tell you that even if people, it was some serious hashtagging going on, but even if they didn't use, when the morning started, right, and and the posts and everything started, Chairman Fred was everywhere. Like people really, it really did dawn on everybody that this is the day that they assassinated them, and we do have survivors, but everybody could have been killed that day. But my point is that Roz is right, that it was all over, and then by the time the activities started, you were everywhere, like on every single platform being shared all over. So and on behalf of everyone, I would like to say it was difficult. Chairman did not, you know, he like everybody else wanted it to be in person, but as the head of an organization and the head of this movement, you know, he had to make that hard decision in the midst of everything going on to ask people not to come, for it to be virtual. But it went around the globe, so I still do think it was a success, Chairman.
Without a doubt. Man, without a doubt. We don't even know how much of a success it is. It's ever developing. You know what I'm saying? This is, you're not gonna put no lid on it. This is ever developing. You know what I'm saying? Man, this is ever developing.
I seen the dang Warner Brothers tweet out International Revolutionary Day.
Hey, come on, man.
Warner Brothers pictures Twitter.
Somebody said they have got to be kidding. Somebody said they have got to be kidding on my Facebook. I said, should I delete that comment? I was like, I just left it there. They say they have got to be kidding.
They acknowledge IRD.
Sky's the limit, y'all. I'm telling you, hey, we're gonna talk. Let's keep on pushing.
Now,
you know,
again,
even some of the actors in the movie, they called a day. I mean, yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah, they called they solidarity, you know. So man, so hey, that's what we talking about. You know, it's up the ante, man. Real talk. You know what I'm saying?
Right on. Right on.
I like to also just add in. I like to add in one point is like, remember COINTELPRO as it was designed is still in design and still in effect. And the biggest part of the COINTELPRO program is to make sure that history is erased at every step. So you have to push the story 3 times as hard, even when it looks like it's gonna ride easy. No, keep pushing that story by any platform necessary, right?
Right on.
Well said. Real talk, my brother. Yes, indeed.
Right on.
Right on.
And
right
this,
on, legend.
This Zoom will be available, and conversation at the DuSable Museum is available. The activities from earlier, that's on it's on all the platforms, but we're going to do an edited version and put some things on there too.
Right on. All you legends, y'all energy, revolutionary love, respect, and appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Man, real talk.
All right.
Right on, Chairman Fred. Same to you and the Central Committee, Black Panther Party Cubs, and all the Cubs across the world.
Yes, indeed.
Appreciation, love, and respect.
Right on, Advisory Committee. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all. We're just a loaded gun. All you need is some faith.
That's Fred singing. Jerry say, who is that singing? All he knows is he can hear you talk. He don't know you're singing.
My mother used to tease us, talking about, you know, you or your daddy ain't had no rhythm, y'all. You can't dance.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right. That's right. I told him the other day, I said, you are still live on YouTube, and I can hear you singing. I can hear you singing on YouTube.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Okay, good night, everyone. Free them all.
Hey, y'all, free them all.
Free them all.
All.